Hi friends! This week, it's time for another episode of my favorite series, Ugly Thrift Flips. I have been scouring the thrift stores and I've found some real doozies lately. Before I show you what I'm going to be making over this time, a quick disclaimer that the ugly title is just meant to be funny. It's not actually a critique on the art or the style of these items. Ugly is 1000% subjective. I'm certainly not going to enjoy looking at something that isn't my aesthetic, and I know that there are people out there that don't enjoy my artistic style. And that's totally cool. Everyone is different. So me calling something ugly does not make it a fact. But calling this series not my style, but still okay thrift flips doesn't really roll off the tongue quite the same way. Okay, now that we've got that out of the way, let me show you what we're dealing with. I have these two little drawer sets. This 3-drawer set was $3.99 and this other one was $1.99. I'm actually not sure if they were brought in together because they were in two different aisles, but we're going to make them over together. Let's just start with the bigger one. Now, this is definitely hand painted, with a beautifully random coat of gold glitter on top. Which, all roasting aside, I actually do like the jewel tones, and I love a good sparkle. I don't have a clue what shape the knob on this is, like a baby bird and an egg. The inside of the drawers is gray, so I think that might be the original color. Except for this bottom drawer, which is completely stuck closed. I don't know if it's fully stuck all the way in or if it's just like sealed on the outside with glitter, but we're gonna see what we can do to get that open. I took out the drawers that are doing their job correctly, and then I set to breaking into the one that is being insubordinate. For safety reasons, I'm starting with a tiny little penknife, and it's clearing out a little bit of crud and scratching the paint, but it's not really getting the point across. So let's switch to this craft knife instead. I am trying to be so careful because I am a klutz, and I tend to stab myself. Especially with this knife. I can't imagine why. I'm clearly the most delicate and safe. I got way too excited when the drawer finally started moving and hit the camera, but it's finally out. Looks like that was the problem right there. So let's put away the knives before I injure myself. Next, I need to sand this whole thing down. I'm not really trying to get all of the paint off because this paint is thick, but I'm just trying to get it feeling even and smooth so that I can paint over it. I was trying to get this glitter off, but as someone who frequently has glitter on my nails, I know that that's not easy. So I'm mostly just trying to sand it so that I can't feel the glitter anymore. Even sanding the drawers, it took me getting all the way down to the wood underneath just to get the thick layer of glitter off. For the tops and bottoms of the drawers, I really tried to get as much paint off as I could because I didn't want to chance the drawers getting stuck again. The sanding also revealed a bit of the original design, and I was able to do some searching and figured out that this is what the drawer set originally looked like. I brushed off as much dust as I could, vacuumed up the piles, wiped everything down with a damp rag, and cleaned off my desk. Ugh, so much better. Then I need to cover up all of this mess. And for that, I need some gesso. Starting with the inside of the base, because that's the part that I hate painting the most. It's hard and boring, and no one's even gonna see it. Plus, I don't really need to coat this that well. Nobody's gonna see it that much, and I still want it thin so that once I put paint over it, it's not gonna stick. Then I'll finish coating the whole thing in a nice base layer of gesso. After that was done, I did want to make sure that the drawers still fit. This bottom one is still pretty tight, which kind of makes me nervous. I'm not sure what to do. I don't know how to make it fit better. Maybe I need to sand it down even more? Well, in the meantime, I'm going to work on these two drawers. And first, I'm going to mix up some paint. I really like this color orange, but I don't actually like this paint. So since I seem to like to make things more difficult, I'm going to mix up my own version of this color. good enough. This blue that I'm using, luckily I already had mixed. I'm pretty sure that I've just been adding paint and slightly altering the color of this jar for at least a year or more. Okay, so update time. I painted one coat of this blue inside the base, and I was only going to paint one coat anyway, but I tested the drawers to make sure they still slid, and they didn't, really. So I took all 3 drawers outside and sanded the top edges down to the wood with a power sander. Then, just to be 100% sure that they fit, I also sanded the bottoms of the drawers down to the wood too. Well, actually, I didn't sand any of these down, Mama Requin did, but I supervised. Either way, they fit pretty well now. I am kind of worried about painting the sides of the drawers and maybe ending up with the same problem again, but they look really ugly, and you will see them when you pull the drawers out. So maybe I'll water down some paint and do a really thin coat. We'll see. But I finished the drawers and finished painting the base, trying to be really careful not to get paint on those sanded edges. Also, is this second camera angle looking any better? I decided instead of fighting with my autofocus, I'm gonna manually focus the camera before filming and just try to never move the project. I'm not sure how well it's working because even though there is a viewfinder, it's kind of small and I second guess everything. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with these knobs yet, so we're just going to leave those alone for right now. And now, with the rest of the base color done, we can put the drawers back in and make sure that they fit. Success! Now, to decorate this drawer set, I'm going to use these acrylic paint markers from Resin. I've actually been wanting to use these since my friend Laws tried them out and said they were amazing. They were sold out when I went to buy them, but luckily Resin reached out soon afterwards and was kind enough to send these to me. Ooh, look how many there are! I love a giant set of paint markers. These markers have one of those brush tips that you don't need to pump to get the paint to flow. And they have one of those little windows so that you can see how much paint is left. Of course, you know we have to swatch it. Ooh, can you see that? No, you can't because I forgot to zoom in and focus. There we go. That's so pretty. This swatch sheet is stressing me out a little bit because it doesn't seem to make any sense. It doesn't look like it's in color order, but it definitely is not in number order. Maybe it'll make more sense when the swatches are all done. Which, I don't know if you guys think swatching is boring, but I don't. I love swatching, so I'm gonna finish doing all of these. Alright, they look pretty good. There are a few that could maybe use a second coat, but overall they don't look too bad. And I guess it sort of is in color order, but then what do the numbers mean? I don't know. Doesn't matter, I guess. One thing though that is kind of funny is some pens have different fonts for the numbers. See? Those are 2 completely different fonts. Again, I don't know that it really matters, I just thought it was kind of funny. Anyway, let's get on to decorating. So, I got the idea for this drawer set when I was laying in bed one night, not sleeping. Okay, I'm a preschool teacher, and music is a big part of preschool. We cycle through many favorite songs, but currently my students are obsessed with 2 songs about fish. Baby Shark? I mean, always a favorite, but no. First is this song about goldfish in the ocean. Second is this song about sea creatures getting eaten by increasingly larger creatures. We listen to these songs at least once a day, if not more. So as I was laying in bed, unable to sleep due to the marathon of these songs playing in my head, I thought, how about paint fish on this drawer set? Specifically, this fish. Remember this guy? I painted him on a tile magnet a while back, and you guys liked him, and more importantly, I liked him, so let's bring him back. I had intended for this to be a bunch of different versions of the same goofy fish with a little bit more detail than before, but I didn't really get them identical enough for that, So it kind of turned out more like a bunch of siblings and one really long, derpy cousin. Also, I love these markers. Some of the lighter colors needed a few extra coats, but they dried really quickly and layered up nicely, and I never had a problem with the flow of paint slowing down. They were nice and juicy. After the fish were all done, the whole thing looked kind of unbalanced, so I added a few bubbles here and there. Ooh, I love them. It's amazing what a few circles can do. Then I popped on some dark blue knobs, and I did water down a little bit of blue paint for the sides of the drawers. Then I put on a few coats of matte varnish to protect the whole thing. And this set is done. This came out so cute! Even though the fish are different, to say the least, I had a really good time painting them. And yes, the drawers are functional still. Now for the second drawer set. This one is a little bit more of a birdhouse shape, I guess. The colors are something, and there's some nice rhinestones glued on the top and onto the flower-shaped knobs. At least both these drawers come out with no issue. I'm thinking that this was originally yellow and green, based on the places where it looks like it's not new paint. Also, they painted over the price stickers on the bottom. I really admire that sort of I don't care attitude that I very much lack. I am going to be removing the stickers. Well, trying to anyway. And popping off those rhinestones. And of course, sanding down this whole thing. Also, again, I was able to find enough clues, like this white stripe and the yellow centers of the flowers, that I'm pretty sure this is what it originally looked like. I'm a real detective. Let's throw on a coat of gesso, and we're ready to paint. Since these sets are different shapes and are going to have different themes, but I do still want them to be related in some way, I'm just going to reverse the color scheme. The insides of the drawers are going to be blue, and the main house of it is going to be orange. Picking up what I'm putting down? Also, I painted the roof blue, because it just would have looked weird to be all orange. Most houses don't have the same color roof as the rest of the house. Side note, this blue is very pigmented, and this orange is really not. So I tried with all of my hand-steadying might to avoid having to go back over the blue and touch it up. Then let's put these little drawers back in here. Thank God they fit so much better than the last one. And let's decorate it. On this one, I'm gonna paint birds. And there's a really interesting story behind why. Of course there's not. It looks like a birdhouse, hence birds. Anyway, since it's smaller, I didn't really want to go for super detailed birds. Also, I've had enough derp in this video. So I just basically went with blocky sort of birds in all different poses. And I actually had a really fun time painting these because they were super quick and easy. So quick, in fact, that I forgot to move and refocus my second camera the entire time I was painting them. I'm not sure that I'm actually getting better at filming videos, but I am sure good at finding mistakes not to make in the future. For the knobs, I just went with yellow flowers and blue centers. There was already yellow on the birds, so I figured it wouldn't look too out of place. Also, that roof was looking a bit too plain and unfinished, so I used the same blue marker from the center of the flowers to go around the edge of the roof. Then, after a quick coat of varnish, this one is also done. This is really cute. I like it. So that's both items done. What do you think? Did I actually improve them from before? Which one did you like best? Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.